Universal One by Dr. Walter Russell. The Universal One, Volume 1, First Principles. Book 1, Chapter 14, Concerning Dimension. The divine concept of a universe of form is the idea of the image-making faculty of mind. The divine concept is but an illusion of divine imagination. Mind thinks the ideas of mind into an illusion of form. Dimension appears when form appears. Form appears as a result of motion generated by the concentrative impulse of thinking. Form disappears as a result of motion radiated by the deconcentrative alternate reactive impulse of thinking. Creation, therefore, is but an illusion due to complex states of motion. All motion is comprehensible. All motion is caused by thinking mind. All motion is controllable by mind. All comprehensible motion is measurable. Measures are dimensions. Dimensions are the intervals which define the relation of one illusion of form to another. Dimension disappears with the disappearance of the illusions it defines. All illusions of form are but varying states of motion locked into the separate states of potential which define those illusions. All states of motion are orderly and periodic. All states of motion, no matter how complex, are reducible to 10 octaves of 7 tones each, plus their midtones and their master tones. All creation is reducible to about 140 elements, which tell the entire complex story of God's thinking, just as all literature is reducible to 26 letters, which tell the entire complex story of all man's thinking. Neither have any existence beyond their ability of expressing in form the manifesting idea of creative mind. The elements of matter are all of the same substance in varying states of motion. Gold is not one substance, and carbon another, and phosphorus still another. Gold differs from carbon, and silicon differs from copper, only by the relation of their intervals in motion, or the measurements of their separate dimensions, which, when aggregated, constitute their separate states of motion. The divine concept is not a universe of motion, but of idea in form. Motion is necessary to produce the form of idea. It is but an attribute of thinking. It is not a principle. Man labours in the bowels of the earth for metals which he can create for himself with ease, when he fully comprehends the motion which has assembled the forms of those elements out of the idea of the divine concept. All that is in creation is fashioned into the form of idea by the 10-octave alphabets of thinking mind. Knowledge of the dimensions of each state of motion will give to man the power to produce from the most plentiful of them those which are most rare. That which nature has taken millions of years to produce through orderly interchange of potentials, man may produce in a few hours by forced interchange. There is no substance which nature can produce that man cannot also produce, when he knows the dimensions which measure the illusion of form of the substance. Man has control of more energy than is necessary to transmute any one element or any compound into any other element or compound. All that he lacks is the knowledge of dimension, in order that he may transmute that state of potential energy locked up in a state of motion called carbon into that other state of motion called gold, and he may have all that he desires at the cost of a very slight effort. The formula for measuring all dimensions of the various elements of matter will herein be written down and charted with all exactness, so that man's burden of heavy labour may be lightened. Years will pass before civilization will have adjusted itself thoroughly to the changed conditions which this new knowledge will bring to the world, but from this change a new civilization will spring. These are the dimensions which, when known and measured, will make man master in that he will be able to evolve or devolve or transmute or synthesize the elements at will. The first dimension is length, the second breadth, the third thickness, the fourth duration or time, the fifth sex, the sixth pressures, the seventh potentials, the eighth temperature, the ninth ionization, the 10th crystallization, the 11th valence, the 12th axial rotation, the 13th orbital revolution, the 14th mass, the 15th color, the 16th plane, the 17th tone, the 18th ecliptic. These dimensions are characterized by one outstanding peculiarity common to all of them, an orderly periodicity. Beyond these 18 dimensions and their inclusions, there are no more measurable intervals of motion. When all these periodicities are charted and their mathematical calculations computed with exactness, it will be very simple for the ingenuity of man to devise the mechanical apparatus necessary to decrease any high potential into any lower one, or increase any low potential into any higher one. Acceleration and deceleration are now measurable. Temperature, tone, color, valence, ionization, and those pressures which are known are now measured. Mass is measurable. Known orbits are now measured, and the unknown ones will be measured when they have been made known. The waves which constitute the complex of all elements have already been computed. The spectrum has been divided and the elements are sorted into about 7,000 color lines of light, but they are as meaningless to man as the Hebrew language is to the Gentile. These 7,000 lines of light are the letters of the universal language of light, the language in which God speaks to man. When man knows this language, he will then think in it. When he thinks in light, he will then know that he is the Son of God, that he is one with God. When man thinks in light, he will then know that he is universal mind, that he is all that is, that he is thinking mind expressing his thinking in light, that he is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. He will then know that he is life, and that life is eternal, and that there is no death, and that he has neither place nor position in space or time, and that dimension is as though it were not, and that there is but one, and that one he, and you, and me, and the rolling hills, and the sands of the sea, and the clouds and stars, and the little violets blooming in the meadow. Already man has gone a far way toward the solving of the great secret of this creating universe which lies hidden in the elements. Within God's alphabet of light, the locked secret has long awaited the master key of knowledge to open the doors to man. Man is mind. Mind creates and controls the energies of the elements. Mind may rearrange these energies and combine them in accord with its desire. Thanks for watching.